guys. Welcome to this little session on energy. And this is my favorite topic because, as you know, and maybe you might not know yet, but I have written an ebook which is called Mastering Body, Mind, and Life. And a lot of the part in there is around working out, eating healthy, but also having positive thoughts. And I can definitely, just like this gentleman, trying to take off, understand how important it is to have the energy of a Spartan warrior. Nowadays, we are challenged with a lot of the, I would say, trauma, micro trauma from childhood, but perhaps even from our previous jobs or our current job when we neglect our feelings. But a lot of this is obviously the inner work that needs to be done. So I'll be focusing today a lot on the physical side of things because I believe that's how you really can get ahead if you tap into the different systems within the body to really help you navigate that. So let's go through this and let's have some fun because that's also important, as nerdy as this gets a little bit. So apologies for some of those names if you haven't heard it before, but I really want to focus on energizing the body, which is really the muscle, making sure that you have the strength, the endurance, and the flexibility. So that's the goal of today's session. So what's the blueprint that we are looking at today? It's about fitness, it's about nutrition, and then it's about mindset. As you know, I'm a big advocate of mindset and looking at, the different things, resilience. It's a huge, huge thing that I would like to talk about, and probably resilience itself. I might be talking about this different ways in the future as well, how to optimize resilience in the different areas. So let's talk first about the physical health. What is physical health? For those like myself that might be a little bit more advanced, then obviously it's about performance. It's about how you tap into the cognitive performance through the body, how you optimize physically. So when you take a shirt off, you are happy with yourself, you have a six pack perhaps, or you feel lean, you feel energized. But for also people that are more maybe on the average side and they just want to get by and just want to feel healthy, which is, I would say, now more. I'm on that side where I don't look like when I was competing in pro bodybuilding, but I'm happy with myself. I'm lean, I'm fit, I have my six pack, and I have my energy that I need to get through the day. So it's about movement. It's about doing these different set of things that we just gonna talk about. One is fitness. So in your fitness and in your body, if we come to the cellular level, apologies, mitochondria is the powerhouse to carry out the basic cellular functions such as care, repair cells in the body associated with aging, metabolism, brain health, and brain health. And this is where it starts, right? It's about measuring your mitochondria and looking the output, that you can produce. So it's about optimizing different things that I just want to pause quickly at. It's about your overall body, and body has different systems and different ways how you can train it. And movement, I call it in the body mind mastering body mind and life ebook, I call it a movement because I know some people might be very sensitive to workout and the term workout or fitness because they imagine, buffed dude, somebody that lifts weight, eats maybe 5,000-6,000 calories a day and is super egoistic. So this is not what I have in mind. What I'm looking here at, it's really kind of holistic warrior. Like if we talk about a Spartan warriors, you can imagine these guys going on a field into a battle. They had to be able to be handy with a sword, but they needed endurance, right? They needed to be lean, they needed to be muscly, and they needed to have strength yet endurance. And that's the thing what you see nowadays. A lot of people forget the way they train, especially a lot of the fitness rats, as I call them, and I was one of them. You train a lot on, heavy weights and you build obviously some type of strength, but you neglect flexibility. So let's get through this real quick. So VO2 max, it's the maximum output of your heart. A lot of uh, websites out there can measure your biological age and better output, better or healthier heart you have. And you can train, obviously, to some extent to improve your heart. Look at swimmers, look at athletes and people that are able to push on the level that general or average human beings are not able. So that's where you can really find out how to improve your energy. So VO2 max is very unique. So it's kind of about 4 minutes training followed by 4 minutes of rest. So you do some type of, maybe heavy exercise, 4 minutes, and then you take like a longer rest. And it can be a little bit more explosive. So let's say I always think about it. I'm sitting on a bike and I'm biking all out for 4 minutes or whatever that is, like 80% of my power. And then I take time. Mitochondria, and that's what we were talking, is about really your energy. So a mitochondria, it's producing the ATP, so really your energy product or factory, if you will. And this is really the high interval training. So I see it more this as running the hill, go 30 seconds all out, and then 2 minutes maybe jog down or take it easy and repeat it a couple times through. Then the third part is lactic acid, which obviously some of you know who go to the gym when you're lifting for 8 reps, and then the 10 and 11th and 12th reps are burning. That's the lactic acid that's been produced in the muscle, which triggers growth hormone, which triggers the body to send more oxygen and more blood into that cell, into that place, which obviously have to bring nutrition, and after that the whole magic of growth is happening. So that I include here as well. So I want to encourage you to include this maybe in your weeks. So have 3 times a week, and that's what I talk in the book, at least work out 3 times a week. This is a little bit like, ideally, if you can include this all in your week, you will be superb. Stamina, another thing, and this is something that you can do every day, and it doesn't have to be 40 minutes, but I remember that I used to do this a lot, kind of, wake up maybe Sunday and then go for 40 minutes, 1 hour. I sometimes still do. On Saturdays, I replace this with bike ride, where I do, maybe 45, 1 hour bike ride. It's not like all out, but it's fasted. And then I come back and I have my lunch. So it's something like that. And you build this endurance. Strength. So 3 to 5 sets, long rest, slow twitch. So you have the fast twitch muscle fibers and slow twitch, which are often, your legs, for example. And I know the other day I was talking to my friend Dean, and he just had this injury in his leg. And I think he had also something the other day with his back. And one advice that I give people often is you should include deadlifts. And again, I'm not, follow your doctor, ask your doctor for advice, make sure you watch good YouTube videos, and because it can be very dangerous if you load your bar too heavy. But what I can see from my experience is that I see definitely an improvement in my health and especially my strength of my back, because I'm sitting a lot, so that deadlifts really help with that. And 3 to 5 sets, long rest, you can imagine 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes will also build a massive strength. Tim Ferriss talks about this with power lifters. And I think about how you do maybe one set, a really heavy weight, and then long rest, 5 minutes. And then mobility. I couldn't stress this enough, guys. You need to do some mobility, because without mobility, you'll be really, I would say, not proper. And you will, I just found out the other day, I do mobility, but there are some areas like your shoulders, like your neck, like your lower back, like your hamstrings, your glutes, and for example, your calves, even your ankles. And if you do a lot of sport, like I do, I play also table tennis. So I have sometimes when I don't watch out for that and don't stretch my ankles or don't stretch my back. I really noticed on my shoulder, many years back, I injured it, and then through hanging and through stretching my shoulders, I increased the range of motion and the pain went away. And that's a lot of times, a lot of things in life, because we sit, we have so much pain. Even generation that is maybe not between 50, 60 or 70, but generation like where I'm at, between my 30s and 40s, and you really see that it's getting even more challenging. If you train, you need to make sure you include mobility. So there you have it. You have the VO2 max, which is really, go all out. Look up YouTube videos. There's so much on these terms out there. But if you can fit these in your week, you will see, you don't need to do everything at once. I always say, take one thing, do it for weeks, or for a week, 2, 3, and then include another one. But I can tell you, your health and your energy gonna go through the roof. So if you spend your life over analyzing every encounter, you will always see the tree, but you never see the forest. Shannon L. Alder. So this is the thing, to really kind of go into the next part. Sometimes, there are things in our life and we forget to really look into that in a holistic way. And we just like the previous slide, you can think about, oh, what does this mean for me? And no, it's not good enough. Sometimes it's a matter of doing stuff and really being diligent and practice these deliberate habits, consistent habits, day in, day out. So that's where we start talking about nutrition. And nutrition is a big topic for all of you, for myself included. And I need to definitely be more mindful about how I think about nutrition, or be more mindful. I'm definitely mindful about how I think, but more in a sense that I just want to put it out there like this. Over a period of your life, you will change your opinions. Don't be bothered about that. That's normal. When I think about myself as a bodybuilder and how I was eating and how I'm eating now, it's totally different. And it benefited me back then. It worked for me back then, but now I see the way I'm living my life and how I feel. It's, different. It aligns with your goals. So if you want to be like this, you need to eat like that, train like that. And it's quite a stereotypical life because bodybuilders eat, sleep, train, repeat. So it's very stereotypical life. But if you want to have a long quality, longevity focused life, you will change. That's where nutrition comes in. So I just want to give you this little model that I developed, and it's called GABA. And GABA, for those that know, it's a supplement that you can take for your sleep. It relaxes you. I take it sometimes so that I sleep even deeper with my magnesium. And let's start with the G, your gut. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna tell you, what to take, what not to take. But I can tell you that a lot of the things that you know already, there is center of energy in our gut, and when we take care of our gut, the way we eat, it helps a lot. So for years, I've been recommending probiotics from P3OM Biooptimizers, and I used a couple of their products, the enzymes and some of the other stuff. And I can definitely still encourage you using that. But also what I realized over the years, that you need to first fix the underlying causes before you before you taking products. And that's again coming back to the point where, you do something for a period of time and you think that's the right way. So be always open and make sure that you fix your gut. And one thing that you need to watch out for is the toxins and all the things that are in the gut and they need to be cleansed. And juicing is one thing, one way to do it. For months and months now, I've been drinking celery juice. So I encourage you, definitely, if you are into this topic, pick my ebook, Mastering Body, Mind, and Life, if you haven't yet, to really understand that detoxing, it's a powerful thing. And your liver, it's obviously the organ that takes care of this. And celery juice is one of the wonders in the world that will increase the energy, that will cleanse your liver, but also cleanse your gut and remove a lot of these toxins from your small intestine, where oftentimes people have SIBO, small intestine bacteria overgrowth. A lot of people have it, and it shows in different ways. So definitely focus on that. Then the ATP, talking about celery, if we look at our adrenals, which produce adrenaline, and really are, and adrenaline is released when we eat, for example, fat food, to balance out all the right levels in our gut. It can get depleted as well through sports. If we go back to the first slides about doing high intensity training, and especially those that tax your system, like mitochondria training, which is really hardcore, where you do, I don't know, 1 minute all out. This is something you probably do just once a week, because you get depleted quickly and your adrenals get depleted quickly. But you need to fuel back, and that's where electrolytes comes in, coconut water. And again, coming to celery juice, that's probably one of the best nutrition out there I've seen, or the most powerful electrolyte I've seen out there. So you really constantly feel filled up, and you feel the tank is there. So I've actually recommended, and again, I'm not affiliated with anybody on this, but I recommended celery juice to family, friends, and now probably a group of 20-30 people consuming celery juice, just because of the benefits. And recently, a mother of my fiance actually brought this up as well, that she saw some girl using it already for years, and all her blood vessels, and I mean blood kind of nutritional values are perfect. Not just blood, but her blood pressure and all these different things. Then we come to the brain. I really want you to focus on this part, because brain is something that we underestimate how powerful that is. And also, again, coming to celery juice or other juices out there, and training your brain through brain games and different things. Guys, brain really, and this is where I would recommend Dr. Amen. There are a few people that I really admire, and Dr. Amen is one of them. He did 100,000 brain scans, and he talks a lot about how nutrition, physical contact, especially physical sports like, fighting, or perhaps even rugby, can damage our brain. So I encourage you to really take care of your brain and clean it, make sure that you eat not so much processed foods. I don't think it's so much sugar, but again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to give any medical advice here, but it's more the processed foods that are hidden in these things that, last lifetime on a shelf, and these trans fats that actually break through the blood-brain barrier through our gut and travel directly to the brain, and are allowed there when the blood-brain barrier is broken, because our gut also doesn't protect us anymore, because it's also compromised due to the way we eat. So really focus on that. Study Dr. Amen, pick his book. I have, I think, 1 or 2 of his books here, and other sources out there. And then I want to recommend one more thing, adaptogens, which I'm actually not using right now, but I use them once in a while. And adaptogens are very good at reducing the stress level in the body. And it's chaga, ashwagandha, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the Chinese mushrooms that actually reishi. And I think now that I'm talking about it, I might actually pick a bottle again for myself for the winter, because it's very good to calm the system down and very natural. So there you have it, just few things for your health to keep you really saturated in a way, physically, but also nutritionally, if you will. And there are so I just got a pause for a second, because I'm thinking there are so many topics encroached or really consisted in this and involved in this. Just want to keep it simple. And that's where like the average Joe, like probably myself now, you want to have things easy. So you go throughout the day, you're like, oh man, GABA, okay, what is this? Okay, did I take care of my gut today? How is my energy? What am I doing to increase my energy? Okay, physically, okay, I'm exercising. And nutritionally, okay, do I, drink some healthy juices? Do I have little shots of ginger, perhaps, when I feel sick? Do I drink warm water with lemon in the morning to help my gut, to make it work? So there are a lot of different strategies out there. Again, this is not endless list, but we want to keep it really simple. Am I taking about my brain? And do I use adaptogens? What do I do when I have a stress period? Do I use GABA? Do I use adaptogens? Do I take extra vitamin, whatever that is, C, zinc, magnesium? And then really it comes down, and I already hinting on that. It's progressing each day slowly and having here, I don't use the app now, but I think it was called Veltory back then, and there it measures your resilience and based on your pulse. So you just put it on your phone. I mean, install the app on your phone, and then you put your finger on the sensor on your phone, and basically it measures your pulse the way and based on that, it kind of can show, okay, you're stressed, and then it generates all the kind of signals for you, how resilient you are. And one thing I just put here, an example that I'm looking at a lot of the times, kind of every day, is my immunity. How am I feeling? If I feel my throat itchy or my nose full, what is the reason for it? And I'm always trying to look for the causes. How is my mental clarity? And this is a good example. Talking back about a brain, I really realized, because now, my fiance's parents were here visiting over the summer, stayed here, about 5 weeks, and then cooked all the Azerbaijani, Georgian, Ukrainian, and different type of food, which really combining it with alcohol consumption or beer, for example, another type of alcohol every evening, I noticed how different I was thinking after this time. Also, considering I was overeating a lot of times. So, we did a little diet: no bread, no sweets, no alcohol for about 3 weeks. And I realized, first of all, not only did I lose weight, but I also started feeling sharper again. And this is where also, when you overeat, when you feel sluggish, and it doesn't have to be that, like, oh, I don't have energy, and you're rolling and crawling. It can be really subtle. And that's where self-awareness comes into play. And I encourage you really to have this acute sense of understanding yourself and awareness, because that's where people a lot of times forget that you need to understand yourself. Mood and stress is another thing. Your stress goes through the roof. You have a mood swings, and it's changing. Your weight, again, when I think years back, I was in a certain weight, and I always was obsessed to some degree, because I wanted to grow, I wanted to be big, I wanted, to be fabulous. So that's certain weight. But I know your body, and I've heard this multiple times. Less body fat you have, healthier you are. And of course, this is no high degree of math out there. It's really simple, because leaner you are, less work the body has to do. If you're more obese, or if you're obese, I mean, that's a different story. But if you're fat and you or dissatisfied about your weight, you feel it. You're sluggish. You don't, maybe you cannot run 100 meters or sprint to get your train or your flight. Your sleep is a big one, I can tell you as well. I changed my routine a little bit from how I used to sleep, waking up ultra early, down to kind of semi early. And I see the difference how I operate. I included more rest in my days and recharging, and you really feel the energy levels going through the roof, and you're feeling more content, and you feel less anxiety and less stress, just because the body, when you sleep less. And the other night, I didn't feel well, and I just woke up and I slept less, and I could feel the next day straight away how. And it. I mean, and you're not alone in this. It's the whole world. When we are underslept, we perform quite poorly compared to when we are, when we sleep well. And digestive wellness, that's something I want you to track as well. Look at, how you feel. Do you feel bloated? This is like a big sign after food. If you feel bloated, okay, well, there was probably something I shouldn't have eaten. And don't ignore it, because a lot of times I've done that, and I'm like, yeah, well, it's nice, I still want to have it. But then, it develops these insensitivities and intolerances to food and drinks and other stuff. So be careful. Here, I just gonna keep it very simple. There are other things that you can, measure through DNA or through some gut test, which is, your vitamin D deficiency, or different vitamins, or how they are decreased, lactose, celiac disease, your gluten, carbohydrates, sugar. And you can also measure through some apps, your fitness, your endurance, your strength, your recovery speed. And recovery is a big one. So that's something you notice as well. When you train often, when you take care of yourself, when you sleep well, then you recover faster. So this is something more, again, some, more stuff that you can include in your diet, from salmon to a lot of veggies. If you're a vegetarian, if you're vegan, I'm not a big advocate of recommending particular diet. I used to do it when I was a fitness health coach and doing it for living, but now I would really say listen to your body and see, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, eat meat, make sure you listen to your body and do what your body tells you. Lastly, I want to finish this strong for your mental health. And this is where I don't want to spend too much time, because we are a little bit stretching this, but looking at, resilience, there are a lot of things that you will need to do to keep your resilience at peak and thriving, if you will. So you have this little metric where, and I might share it some other time, where you have, from poor to medium to thriving. And I did the test the other day, and then I'm looking at these different areas. And when we take, baby steps, when we focus on doing things one step at a time, and as science shows here, we are able to reach the goal six times more, probably, or, if you have this baby step type of mindset. So focus on that, because it is important to live an optimal life. Manage your nagging voice, because there will be times where you will be tired and where you're not gonna feel to do anything. Let's be perfectly honest here. You wake up and you're sluggish, you're tired, you had a heavy week. So catch yourself some slack, pat yourself on the shoulder, and make sure that, when you feel that, when you don't feel for it, think like, what would Deadpool do? What would Wolverine do? What would Captain America do? What would Thor do? And sometimes it helps. I don't always do it, but sometimes when I have a tough week, then I'm like, okay, I need to step up here. How would my better version? I sometimes think about myself. I used to do it a lot when I was preparing for a competition, and I was tired and training, 6-7 days a week, and then just needed to pull through. So sometimes I just saw the better version of myself being, built up, exactly chiseled, and then motivating me to keep going. So maybe there is a version somewhere in you, around you, to motivate you as well. Tap into it. And really, in the end, it's about the values that I talk about: integrity, honesty, passion, enthusiasm. And integrity, especially with yourself, what you promise to yourself, not what you promise to others. Of course, that's important, but it's really make sure that you set yourself to fly rather than to crawl. And that means you need to build some systems, some routines, some habits into your life. And even if you don't see the result now, believe me, a lot of the things that you do now will bring the fruits and bear the fruits later. So don't give in, don't give up, and stay strong. As we are ending this, I want you to have a discussion with yourself to really go again through these topics and say, okay, am I applying it in my life? Am I really focusing on my health? Am I building my physical energy? Am I building my nutritional side of things, or my health, as I call it? Am I building my mindset? Because these are the three areas that will give you a lot of, I would say, advantage in your life and achieving goals and being awesome human being. And here I mentioned some of the things that we used to talk about, FitFun, which is, the values: excellence, deep spirit, high performance, self-control, enthusiasm. So just for example, to give you idea that values are really important. So guys, just wanna finish this strong, as I always say, radiate health, manage diseases, defeat diseases, and lead a fit life and heroic life, because people need you. Shine your light every day, and you can reignite a sparkle today. Stay awesome. Thanks for being here with me. Bye bye.